That's right in line with everything. And now we're in the library. I got a degree.
It's all of that.
Right. Yeah, maybe that meant Polizzi. So.
Friends.
Let them get funded and then we'll start, just to be conscious of everybody's time. Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry. My favorite film. I believe so. It's even a preview that we got at TLA, but they. No, at our open enrollment. But I like it at the same. Oh,
Have y'all been here too? They're true.
Okay, so we will get into it. I am Alexis Polizzi, for those of you who don't know. And I'm here with Marcus Brown. We are the TRIO SSS coordinators. And so today we're going to give you just a little bit more information about what Tarleton TRIO SSS does, what we are, and kind of our unique dynamic on campus, because I feel like we're a really unique department within a really great division on campus. Is anybody familiar with what TRIO stands for? How we got our name? Maybe, I see a maybe.
I'll give you a hint. It's not an acronym.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so TRIO actually came about from, what the unique part about it is the 3 programs that were the trio of programs, other programs we have here at Tarleton. So the ones you have on that sheet are Upward Bound, Student Support Services, and Education Talent Search. So those 3 original programs from the Department of Ed were coined TRIO, because it was a trio of programs.
We're really unique and situated as we came out of the Higher Education Act that came out of the Civil Rights Movement. So I really love that we have our origin story linked to something super inclusive. And so we are a federally funded outreach and service program. We are designed to identify and provide services for underrepresented individuals. So we work with first-generation low-income students and students registered with student accessibility services. So total now, what was 3 original programs is now 8 programs across the nation. So there is TRIO, do I have it on the next slide? I don't. There's TRIO Student Support Services, Upward Bound, and Talent Search, which are the 3 that we house, so the original 3. There is now an Upward Bound STEM, Upward Bound Veterans. There's an EOC, which is Education Opportunity Centers, which helps individuals who may have been out of the career field for a while, out of education for a while, get back into it. Same thing with Upward Bound Veterans who have served and are wanting to go back into college now. That program specifies with that. Forgetting McNair, thank you. And then there's also McNair, which focuses on getting students not just through their undergraduate degree, but into a doctoral program. So when you sign up for McNair, you also have to sign a contract that you will be entered into a doctoral program within 6 years of graduation.
Wow.
So our collective goal as a whole is to help underrepresented students, and then we each have our own unique process in the way that we do that.
It's training. The training these days.
And the training one, thank you. I always forget the training one, even though that's like my favorite. And then there's the newest one, which is the training program, which essentially trains TRIO professionals how to be TRIO professionals. All of these are grant funded, and so they're on a cycle of a 5-year grant program. So I say it's kind of a bittersweet. We have job security for 5 years, but every 5 years we're kind of nail biting on, are we going to get the grant again? But yeah, so we assist individuals through the process of our pre-college programs help get to college, our college programs help through college, and then programs like McNair help get through doctorate. So what is Student Support Services? As I said, Marcus and I work for Student Support Services. It is under the TRIO umbrella, so you'll often hear us referred to as TRIO SSS or just SSS. So Student Support Services is a free, nationally recognized program that provides underrepresented students with services such as tutoring, mentoring, academic advising, and exploration of cultural and diversity opportunities. So we do this in different ways. So we help students look at different graduate schools. We do grad school tours. We try to do those at least once a year over spring break. We also do cultural trips over summer. So we were able to go to the Kimball Art Museum this summer, and then down to Waco, we went to the Dr. Pepper Museum, and we may have also visited the silos because culture doesn't have to just be museums and stuff. It can be fun events. And so we got to make our own soda at the Dr. Pepper Museum, and we got to see the Mayan exhibit at the Kimball Art Museum, which was really cool.
I want to take advantage of this opportunity because we have some students of ours in here, which I'll be so kind to share kind of your experiences with SSS on campus. It could be really short. It could be my advisor's just really cool. I might just be singing it to everybody. But if you don't mind sharing just some of the experiences with SSS.
You want to call out who to go first?
Well, I know we offer tutoring. AJ is one of our tutors.
My experience with SSS is very grand because I have 3 years plus 5 to 3 years at professional team. I greatly enjoy the support that I get from TRIO. Like that's the main thing. I love going to events. I love that I have great friends. I just stand up and for pages for my classes. I would see here. But the support that I get and the understanding outside of it. And then I'm also a tutor in Dallas as well as a student. So I get the mentorship of my kids. I get to interact with a bunch of students. So I feel like that's a bonus. So what's the difference in the tutoring that y'all provide and like tutoring and learning?
So it's a supplement to that, right? It's the same thing, it'll be the same training, it's just a supplement to that. So we have our own, part of our grant is to provide tutors. So it's kind of like told to do it in a sense. But we want to add additional resources, not take away from some kids, right? Because sometimes the tutoring and learning center doesn't necessarily always do one-on-one. We're able to do one-on-one with our support, right? And so sometimes somebody may need that individualized one-on-one. Sometimes we will have students who don't have time to go to the bank, right? We have a lot of students who aren't going to come and have to work multiple jobs, right? And so providing tutoring is just an extra layer of support for our first year. Very good question.
Yeah, we like to see it as in addition to, and so as it's per our grant, we have in-house tutors, but also kind of helps take some of the leverage off of the tutoring and learning center as well, because we have 140 students. And if their GPA falls below 2.0, they're supposed to be weekly with a tutor. And so it also helps kind of free up a little bit of spaces for the tutoring and learning center. And again, like Marcus said, it's also in addition to. So we do encourage students to utilize the tutoring and learning center NSI sessions as the university has. Yeah, just a little bit of that flexibility for students. Jordan, do you want to talk about your experiences with SSS?
I'm not really sure what to say.
No, you're good. What do you? You're good. What do you like most about student support services? Just kidding.
I guess I like the support and that you get here. So I'm also a part of the career program, and so just the support that I received throughout the years for just everybody involved. It's great.
Yeah.
We like to say support is our middle name, right? Technically it is, right? But yeah, so all of these things are geared towards getting our students to reach this graduation, right? Tutoring is going to help you academically, mentoring is going to help you personally, professionally, all these things that we do, right? Exploring diversity, exploring cultures, right? We try to build global leaders, right? You have to know different cultures besides yourself to do that, right? So everything is really geared towards the individual. And it's it's 100 different ways we serve students, because every student has a different individual need, right? And so that's what I love about our program. It can go, it can be like individualized, right?
Yeah.
To the person, right? So we talk about financial planning, right? Personal coaching, planning for graduation. That looks different for every student. The students have different majors, right? So it's a lot of ground we can cover with that.
Yeah, so what you'll see is we have all of these services on campus, right? We have a career services, we have Text and Smart. So we are kind of a more personalized because we only serve 140 students versus the university of 16,000, right? So we're able to give that personalized experience. And so we have students that come in, some students almost on a daily basis to come and talk with us because again, a lot of these students are first gen low income or registered with disability resources. So needing a little bit of added support to the supports that we have on campus. So we do start with referrals of, hey, here's some basic things, but we also have the opportunity to gain rapport as we're with these students for the 4+ years that they're here on the university.
Is 140 your path?
Yes, ma'am. So we are funded for 140. We usually always have some wiggle room. Last year we served 165. But which gets a little strenuous. But yes, so we're supposed to be at 140. Okay. We're currently at 132, by the way, so we do have about 8 slots remaining open for the semester.
How do y'all find them?
Different ways, right? So we do a lot of resource fairs with
Like a toolbox thing?
Yes.
the toolbox thing, and then when they do the tours, orientations, that's right.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that. I partner with a lot of student organizations. I actually am an advisor for three. So I like to partner with those organizations, and a lot of our students are leaders in those organizations already. So there's a little bit of improvement there. And just word of mouth, right? We've had students refer students all the time, right? And so I really want this to be one of those resources on campus that's well known, right? Because it's a really good thing. So partnering with different professors, right? We were able to teach FYS courses as well. And so just being able to partner with professionals on campus. So it's a lot of different ways. Instagram is a good one, good way of recruiting.
Yeah, partnerships and word of mouth is like the #1 that I do. So on our application, we asked like, how did you hear about us? We got 2 students out of the toolbox event, which was super cool. And then we have a lot of students that are referring other students of, oh, hey, my friend told me that this was really beneficial. And just different professors and different staff members referring students. My brother also works on campus and he sent 2 students our way. So it's really, if you're noticing that a student is needing some additional help, a referral is always great, just keeping the eligibility requirements in mind. So 75% of our students have to meet both first gen and low income. So a lot of issues. We also have first gen initiatives here on campus, which focuses on all of our first gen students, where we again are only serving 140, and 75% of those have to be first gen and low income. And so we're running into a little bit of an issue with that people are just seeing the first gen tag in EAD and they're like, oh, go talk to TRIO. We're like, hey, maybe dive a little bit deeper and see what that student is needing, because Dr. Flo's office is first gen initiatives. And they're focusing on that face-to-face, helping all first generation students. So some perks, we talked about this a little bit. This just goes a little bit more in depth, that students get a personalized action plan. So we sit down every semester with the students, finding out what they're needing the most support with for that semester. And then we set 3 semester goals. These can be personal, professional, academic. A lot of students usually have a GPA related goal, but seeing those personal and professional goals, I really enjoy that. I really like the goal setting aspect with students and seeing, because some of them it's just like, I kind of want to have like a better work-life balance. Like I'm working while being a student and I feel like I don't have a lot of time for hobbies and things like that. So we really try and provide and meet the students where they're at, because all of our students are, I say, people first, students second, right? And as humans, we have needs, wants, and desires. When we're worried about where our next meal is coming from, or we're worried about an exam and stuff along those lines, sometimes it's hard to keep in mind some of these personal goals. So person first, meeting the students where they're at, students second, how can we help achieve your goals? One of the unique things is, since we are funded by the Department of Education and not necessarily through Tarleton, I tell students we're not Tarleton recruiters. If Tarleton is not working out for you, we can help facilitate to a different university. We've helped several students that found other universities that better met their need. We had a student with a very high dietary restrictions. She was vegan and some other things. And when we went toward one of the grad schools, she actually made the decision to change because it aligned more with her career goals as well. We didn't offer the program that she was really looking for, so she had settled for one. And so we helped facilitate her to that. We helped another student get into another nursing program because it was actually closer to home than our nursing program. And so again, we're here for the students. I know a lot of different departments and places say they're student focused, and I really feel like we are 100% student focused. And we have that advantage of being funded by the Department of Education. Not to say that Tarleton is amazing, because I'm an alumni and he's a current student, so.
And going along with a lot of the things, right, I think one of the action plans, again, our goal is to help people reach graduation. So it's just one of those little steps, right, for the semester art social access. Do you want to get involved with student organizations? We can show you where to find them. It's hundreds of them on campus, right? If you want to help get better grades. Okay, cool. What does that mean? What is that going to require? What classes are you taking, right? So these are going to open up like broader or deeper conversations with these. And so it's easier to follow up with those. So I'm really glad that we have this form of communication with us. Again, out of 140 students, 140 different ways to serve.
And then I really like the educational and social activities. College is more about just more than just academics. So that social involvement, again, Marcus is over 3 different boards. We also try and do game nights and movie nights to allow students to meet other first-gen students, allow students that might have similar experiences. Because it is more than just, hey, you're in a classroom all day, you're a student, again, you're a person. Social is a big aspect of who we are as humans. And so providing that accessibility to students as well, of giving them an opportunity to meet other students. And then, like we said before, free printing always a plus. Again, because we serve low-income students, printing can add up really quickly, especially if you have an open access book that is literally only accessible online. It's not always the most accessible, so if you need to print it, printing a book is expensive, but it's free in our office, which is really nice.
Yeah, and school supplies, learning more and more about different degrees, right? This week I learned about engineering paper. There's an actual specific paper you need to do your assignments in. It's like $20 for a notebook. Right, as a student, there's no way I would have been able to spend 20 bucks. Right, so I had a student almost in tears because I handed her one today. Right, so being able to provide that, it helps. Right, I think the older we get, sometimes the $20 may not seem like it goes a long way. But $20 is. I remember when I was an undergrad, my uncle lived in Fort Worth, college in Dallas, and he would come down. He's all right, scholarship, and he paid me $40. Which if I got $40 a day, I'm like, okay, cool, it's great. It's like I'm back out of the building. But for me at that age, it was huge, right? So I'm really just kind of putting it into perspective of, hey, this small thing from the grant, being able to provide these students is helping, not necessarily just pass the class, but helping break the generation, change the course of their family's lives. But being the first person in the family to graduate, right? I was the first person in my family to graduate. My mom went back to school, my older brother went back to school. All my cousins know they go to school, right? They know they have somebody to ask who's done it, right? And so these small things may seem small, but they're huge.
And I always I love your story. And I always stand by. I am a person that has to like release dopamine for me to want to do it, like studying. And so providing a pack of pens, like a pack of pens is like $20+ if you want a nice variety of different colors and stuff like that, right? So again, these things that seem small, but because we're funded by the Department of Education, we literally have a bookshelf of fun highlighters and pens and notebooks to really encourage, hey, it's okay, like we get it, like that. Easily $200, especially if you're the oldest and you have brothers and sisters and siblings that are still in K through 12 and your parents are dropping a lot of money on school supplies every year, right? So help offsetting that. We also have a lot of non-trad students who are having to possibly be the only caregiver for their children, right? And so they're not worried about their own school supplies. And so being able to provide stuff like that, again, help taking some of that financial barrier off.
When you talk about, sorry.
No, you're good. I love questions.
Tutoring technology.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the technology only the 3 printing, or is there something like, do you have TI-83s or whatever?
We do
have calculators, right? And so when it comes to having those, we'll provide rentals for them. They're really expensive.
Yes, they
so there's a fee that might happen if you don't bring them back. call Charleston 101. So we show people how to use canvas, we show people how to use EAP, we show people how to set meetings with their coordinators and all that stuff, right? And then we show them how to use my data, right? So particularly when we have transfers in the spring, a lot of times they're lost on that because there's not the big hoopla that we have for that, right? So we have these free transfers, and one is we hit home. Hey, these are the services you need to know. They're gonna tell you to register. They'll tell you Dutch trust. You're gonna look and be like, what are you talking about? Right? Why am I following a duck? You mean I should be? Right? And so really being able to show them those type of things. So it's a encompassing thing. So it kind of includes that. And also connecting to resources on campus. How many of y'all know we have a student loaner program to where you can rent a computer?
First Rivers.
Yeah, it's a good. I personally, and I needed a laptop, right? I'm currently renting one, free charge, right? And so also connected to those type of resources.
Yeah, it's a simple form too, Ms. Kim, by the way. But yeah, we also have scientific calculators. So scientific, TI 83s,
And 89s.
and 89s.
I think it's 84s. I think I remember going to the math department saying, hey, which ones do y'all like to use? So we don't get the wrong ones.
Yes.
And it said,
Okay, so, but yes, and then we also tell students if there's something specific you need for class, let us know. So we had a student that needed a field notebook, which is literally just a little notebook, and she's like, I don't really know what this is, and so pulled it up, it's a waterproof paper notebook, which is really, we were able to get that. Like Marcus was saying, engineering paper, chemistry paper for organic chem, specific notebooks, specific note cards, so organic chem also has like little note cards for when you're learning all of the organic chemistry stuff at but yeah, so different ways like that of technology. Yeah. Any additional? No.
I don't work in Circ anymore, but there have been students who I've overheard say, they're requiring me to do this and I can't afford it, so I always like to have these little tidbits, like, kind of put in my back pocket, pull it out as needed, so.
So when you hear students like that, the first thing that we would prefer you to think is student basic needs and resources.
Right.
So student basic needs and resources will provide direct funding that goes into their like text and bill pay account. So if a student is needing a physical textbook, like $200 for a textbook, or even if they want to purchase their own, say they're a math major and they're going to need it for more than a semester, student basic needs and resources can help give them direct financial support. So in order to utilize our services, you have to apply for our services and be accepted into your program. But yes, student basic needs and resources, but definitely if they're first gen, if they're low income and you're noticing that struggle, send them to us. We'll talk with them, see if they're a good fit for us or if they're just needing a quick fix or an immediate fix for a simple issue.
Yeah, I know that there are some that probably would qualify.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Services.
For sure. Yeah, Tarleton is 53% first gen,
yeah.
right? So the majority of students here qualify for our services. Do we wish we could serve everybody? Yes. 75 students is a lot on a caseload for a semester, but we're getting through. We're working with it. And again, having the university buy-in and university support with first gen initiatives now is going a long way. Having a physical office to send students to and stuff like that as well.
Have y'all met your 75% first gen and low income?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have a really awesome recruiting team.
It sounds like you are, that's. Y'all are great, period. I'll shut up now.
No. We also love collaboration. Anytime that we can get seen on campus and tell students what we do is really great for us, and we love the library. We really do. We couldn't do what we do without the supports of the different departments here on campus. And so anytime we get a chance to collab and come talk and just come like show the human face behind like the department, we love to do that. Because we love to share that with students too, right? It's so much easier being like, hey, go talk to Marcus over in TRIO instead of just be like, go over to TRIO programs in the Tarleton Center, right? So putting a name with that, putting a face with it, being able to be like, hey, I'm Alexis over at TRIO. Oh, hey, like your face is familiar. Where did I see you? Probably saw me at the toolbox in the library. And so that's we had a student apply. I'm like, I saw that student, and she put on her application the toolbox, and I was like, yes, thank you. So yeah, anytime we can put like faces with names, our biggest goal, I think, our cheesy is to support students, which can mean 9 million different things to 9 million different students. But that's where our passions are. We're both first gen students. First in my family to get anything beyond a high school diploma, and now I'm going for a doctorate. So it can be done. My fun first gen story that I always like to share, especially being a Tarleton student. My freshman semester, my very first year here on campus, I was in water aerobics for my PE credit, which is now like kinesiology credit, but for my PE credit, I was like, oh, I'm a fish. Like I love being in water. So I signed up for water aerobics. 6 weeks into the semester, fell, broke my ankle. I was in a walking cast. I thought just not going to class was how you drop the class. And I thought, because she had made a comment at the beginning of like, if you don't show up for class, like you're gonna fail, you're gonna get dropped. I was like, okay, cool. So like, I'm just not gonna go to class. I'll retake it next semester or whatever. Time rolls around, I get an F on my report card, and I'm like, or on my EAB, whatever it was back then. And I was like, how do I have an F? I dropped the class. How do I have an F in this class? And then realizing that there's a whole formal process to dropping a class. But to this day, I still have an F because I also didn't know that if you retake the same class at the same university, that it'll replace your grade. So I took bowling the next semester and aced that. But to this day, and I show it to students because I'm like, I promise, I'm not just like blowing smoke. To this day, I have an F, but I still graduated. So that's also just because you fail a class does not mean you're going to fail the university. Right? There are different options for you. There are different supports for you. That's not yes.
First gen story you could share with someone.
Yes.
I didn't know anything and I was afraid to ask questions, so it took me 6 years to graduate. Whereas if I had gone on the first semester or even the first year, it would have helped a lot.
One of the big things with why we do advising like we do, I took a semester of classes that were not related to my psychology degree. They saw Bachelor of Science and put me in computer science classes. So I have 3 computer science classes on my degree plan. I know how to do Dreamweaver, which is non-existent now. So like random 3 computer classes one semester, and I was just like, I don't know why I'm in these, but my advisor put me in these. And then the next time I met with Dr. Newby, I love Dr. Newby. Dr. Newby, he was like, why did you take these classes last semester? And I was like, it's what my advisor put me in. He's like, you're coming to me from now on. I was like, yes, sir. So yeah, and so I'm really passionate about helping students advocate for themselves as talking with advisors about, hey, what are these classes for? Why are these classes? And just being familiar with your degree works, being familiar with what the classes and the options are. Because sometimes you have like 5 different options that might fit for your degree plan as an elective or as a class. And if one class isn't something that you really like, maybe instead of taking, I took philosophy and I really liked it and took ethics. But ethics was a sub for me for an English class. Probably shouldn't have done that, but it subbed for an English class randomly. It hindered me when I got into upper level psych classes and I had to write. So knowing different things, being aware of, hey, subbing this class might not be the best bet for a writing intensive major. But, yeah, so I love that. Any other questions, comments?
The question that I'd like to share when I sort of first experience. I technically do not count as a first generation student because the father has 3 years. My father got his degrees in the military. And so that's not covered. He doesn't know the financial process. There's not some of the process. He didn't know any of that stuff. And so he also was working with another like helping do all the processes. So we were figuring it out together. And then one all passed away, and another has become together. So I was doing that stuff. And so I had the first experience of the credit of the first generation student. And so I remember I got here in the spring semester, and my advisor was like, oh, you're a junior, and so we're telling all of our junior and senior level people to schedule their classes by themselves. And I was like, you walk me through the master. At your pace, not my pace. I don't know how to do it. The first place I went to was TRIO. And I sat down with Jim, was doing a lot of Alexis, and here's what you do. And then Alexis taught me through the whole research process, how to tell your classes and which classes to take. And that was like my first experience for like actually getting to know the of like degree works, how to put on classes. And so that, because I've been doing it by myself in previous institution, but it was different than having someone sit down and explain it to you, this is why you do it, this is how you tell them to do it. The next class of shooting. And so then now I can relate to my advisor meetings, because I know people have purchased these see as you get through that first. And so I can go ahead and do that, this sort of thing. Then I can get in and out, but I get that basis of knowledge. So I think the one-on-one aspect that I can sit down with them for a whole 30 minutes to an hour. So just talking. And it's like that knowledge that I got in that first aspect that when big universities have to do that one-on-one across the day, and TRIO was that like personal place you are person. I was in TRIO.
Okay.
So this one I kind of
You sat them out.
yeah, I found out. But at MCC there was a pamphlet and it was like year with scholarships, and my mom was like, we can use all of them.
Yeah.
And so we signed up for it, but I didn't know it was a program, that was just a scholarship. And so I walked into the office and this person was the director. And so I was about to sign up for it. She was like, so you know about you, the TRIO program. I was like, no, I don't, but I'd love to learn more. And so then she sat with me for some like 30 minutes. She talked about everything that's offered and how she get a fit for it. And she's like, so yeah, we can apply. And now I really want to.
You do touch on a really important part too, is that organically, those conversations that happen organically of just chatting with students. I feel like all of us have had conversations with students that you're like, oh, I did not think this conversation was gonna go this direction. But sometimes it's that random, oh, hey, yeah, this is how you do this. Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, like I was talking with a student about their financial aid. They were struggling. Inflation is real, whether we want to admit it or not, right? And so they were struggling with financial aid, and we were talking, and they pulled it up, and we were looking at what all kind of financial aid they were offered, and I was like, oh, your EFC is kind of high. Like, do you want to talk with me about that? Because we have you as like low income, so there's a discrepancy. And they're like, what is EFC? And so just that organic conversation of explaining, and the student being like, why is it so high? And I was like, that's a good question. And they were able to do a financial aid appeal and get their EFC dropped from like 1,300 to 0, and they qualified for more grant aid. So just a question about, hey, is there any scholarships available, turned into, hey, actually, if you do this appeal, you can possibly qualify for more grant aid, which is free, and you don't have to pay that, which is always a good thing. So yeah, organic conversations happen when you have that rapport, when you have students that are comfortable to come and talk to you about stuff.